Series of Poker Main Event. After all, who could have predicted Chris Moneymaker would change poker forever? This could be the last card of the 2003 World Series of Poker. Who thought Jamie Gold would talk his way to a championship?
You don't have a queen, do you? I got this one.
All right, you talked me into it.
You call?
Here we go! And did anyone think Daniel Weinman's jacks would lead to $12 million? Oh, a jack of hearts on the turn! And that is it. We can't predict the future. Poker reminds us of that all the time. But when you enter the main event, when you sit down for $10,000, when you chart your course to day 5 and beyond, there is one guarantee. When the last card is dealt, someone will win the main event bracelet. Someone's future will be golden.
Yes, Mike.
So just say, I don't want to speak for Norman, but when you haven't won a World Series ring or a bracelet, you know, they're obviously more important to you.
Well, I don't want to brag, fellas, but what if you have a significant other who's won a ring?
Oh, there you go.
How does that factor into it?
These are tainted rings. One was a senior's ring, and one is not yours. It's hers.
Well, interesting board here. Rodriguez with a nut flush draw after Ivey flopped a set of 9s. Ivey bet 50. 2 more greens come in from Rodriguez to make the pot 250,000. Red king, but it's a heart on the turn.
This is dangerous territory for Phil Ivey, obviously, with the top set on the flop. But if a diamond comes in, is it possible all of his chips could go away?
I think Phil might put in such a significant bet that... 100. Oh, he goes small here.
100.
Call.
And now that issue is on the table.
Yeah, because he did go with the small bet. You see what he has behind.
This is funny. I wondered if Rodriguez would lead on this card. I'm not sure
180 is the bet.
if this is a thing in theory, but it's just so hard for him to find bluffs that it makes some sense. Unfortunately for him, he runs into a very strong hand, and Phil won't be folding. Phil got the nearly the full double.
Interesting line, interesting play by Rodriguez.
Yeah. Phil Ivey, as mentioned, almost a full double up there. Over at Alani's table 3. Huey all in for 230 with ace-9. Fabian Netterreiter with the pocket pair, looking for the knockout.
When you're all in at this stage of the tournament and called, and you have ace-9, you're very happy to find the other flip.
And a 9. She caught a break. Netterreiter just with ace, and so now it's Netterreiter looking for one of the 2 remaining 8s to knock out Lonnie. Well, that's going to work pretty well.
How about another 9?
Still, the 8s are the outs. How about a tray and a double up for Lonnie Huey?
Let's go.
Lonnie walked by me the other day in the hallway, and she's still thinking about giving me the Twitter handle. You know, it's not out of the question. Luscious Salon, though, will double up.
Mostly because he stopped coming here, and we do have an all in here from Ewing.
All in.
Ace deuce. Rodriguez all in with pocket trays. So 2 stacks up for grabs. Yakar Galper from Israel.
They have 155.
Small blind. Ivey's in the big blind. Ivey's putting chips forward, and Ivey with pocket kings. Back-to-back monsters for Phil Ivey, and here with a double knockout potential and a huge pot.
This could be an unbelievable start to the day for Phil.
Fortunately, I haven't used it until now.
Must have had looking down at those kings, even if you're Phil Ivey, who's been in this position several times, no doubt, but in the big blind with 2 shoves in front of him.
And he had dropped down below 20 bigs such a short while ago. We saw the big pickup with the set of nines, and now he will just go well beyond 1 million chips. If this holds up.
Yeah, working towards an average stack.
At one time, baby. Guys, they're both using it against you. Tough to die.
And as a corollary, what a terrible feeling for Rodriguez, who came in with a healthy stack today, bluffed off a bunch to Phil, and is now a 4-to-1 dog.
Oh, and a third king for Ivey. 2 clubs. Ivey's got the king of clubs. And you look at the 2% and the infamous less than for Rodriguez.
I think we're all in.
If you got a less than by your cards, that's not good.
I'm out.
Good games.
GG.
I'm out. I'm out. A double knockout at the main feature table for Phil Ivey to start day 5. 2 entrants got us over the finish line. And we've got big hand and all in for the queens against ace king. Abraham Tanu with the queens at risk.
I like this 3-table setup today. There's non-stop action, it feels like.
Yeah, we got the hole cards on this 3rd table, so there you go. You're welcome. Gregory Fournier looking for an ace on the river, and it comes. Abraham Tanu out of the main event here on day 5. Well done. Good run. Okay, all in. Lonnie's all in.
Oh,
ace,
no.
Jack, and Giordano with queens.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, Lonnie could do it again.
A lot of life to Lonnie.
Lonnie Huey looking to build her stack right now with.
You know, I dare say Lonnie may be more stoic.
Oh,
no.
A queen on the end.
Payout, table C.
That was heartbreak.
Marcello Giordano does the dirty deed with a queen on the end, sending Lonnie Huey to the rail. Oh, wow. A clash of titans here, both in players and hands. Mateos with kings. Barry, the biggest stack with aces. Already $1.4 million or so in the middle. Queen high flop against these 2 monster hands.
It looks like Barry found a 4-bet pre-flop, and Mateos called, I would imagine, based on the size of the pot and their positions. And the one saving grace for Mateos is the presence of the queen on the flop.
425.
Diminishing the chances that Barry has pocket queens?
Or just, you know, if you're in Mateos' shoes and Barry keeps betting, you're like, well, now I can't beat aces or queens. Also, the queen might, just the fact that these are 2 of the absolute biggest stacks in the tournament, they want to play a little more careful against each other. The presence of the queen and the fact that either one could have pocket queens.
Right. Okay.
4-bet by Barry confirmed.
So these are 2 of the biggest stacks in the room.
Any paint left?
10 also an interesting card, not just because players could have pocket 10s. Mostly Mateos would have the pocket 10s. I don't think Will Barry would be 4-betting too often with them.
And did Barry indeed 4-bet pre-flop? So how much more stock does Mateos put in his hand that out of position Barry is 4-betting him?
Yeah, I think just considering the size of their stacks and the fact that Mateos is a player that you're probably looking to tangle with a little bit less in this tournament.
1.3 million.
I would expect Barry to have a very, very strong range of hands. And if you're Mateos, that mostly includes queens and aces, both of which you can't beat anymore. You know that you can have queens here. You know that you can have pocket 10s here.
Mateos with the 2nd biggest stack entering the action today. Barry took over the chip lead in quick fashion.
And just calling, if he were to call here, Mateos, more than half of his massive stack before the hand would be in the middle.
It is quite a conundrum, putting that many chips in and then potentially folding the river.
Yeah, that does have to figure into his thinking about having to face a river bet as well.
Mostly because Will is almost exclusively representing hands that are beating pocket kings right now.
And they know who each other are. Don't doubt that for a second. And the kings go into the muck on the queen high board.
Enough? Never.
I cannot emphasize enough how sick it is that he found the fold right away on the turn.
This table with us, Adrian Mateos in seat 1, the chip leader Will Barry over in seat number 8. Mateos has the aces this time. We saw him fold kings to the aces of Will Barry on a queen high board after the turn. We got an ace king and a 5-4 of hearts also in the hand. Ling Ku Lu right there with 5-4 of hearts.
Re-raise.
Won an online bracelet last year.
This feels a bit fitting, doesn't it? Adrian dodging that classic kings versus aces cooler just a moment ago. Now he gets to have aces versus the ace king suited.
Adrian Garcia next to him. Joined the table recently. Ace king suited against one of the big stacks, one of the best in the game, Adrian Mateos.
And when you're facing such a capable player's 4-bet, you have to imagine ace king suited becomes a great hand to 5-bet shove. There's so much money in the pot already. You know that some percentage of the time you're just going to take down the pot right away, and the other percentage of the time your hand generally has a tremendous amount of equity. In this case, we know he's in very bad shape.
Notice the chip counts on their picture right there. Those are the chips they have left in the stack right now. 2.6 million each.
And in my world, Jesse, which I don't play no limit, but when I'm at the main event,
Players all in.
All in against the aces, and ace king in big trouble. Mateos in line to get what he lost just a moment ago back in spades. Hopefully no spades come on the board for him though.
I was about to say, in my main event on day 5, when I start a hand with 100 bigs, I can't believe I'm pushing all in.
With ace king?
Pre-flop with ace king.
You know, to be honest, Norm, I'm actually right there with you. But if I'm ever doing it, it's against Adrian Mateos for betting me.
One
Adrian's
spade.
So capable.
Okay.
But I could not agree anymore. There is 8 players left in this tournament at maximum, probably really 3 or 4 that I would ever consider putting 100 big blinds in against. Oh my God.
Another spade on the turn, and Garcia gets more equity. You see his outs, 9 of them at the top of the screen there. Garcia is the one at risk.
What an awful beat this would be.
Oh, the tray of spades on the end, and Garcia's ace king destroys the pocket aces and the chip stack of Adrian Mateos.
My goodness.
I can't believe that just happened. We had basically written it away as the hand was done once they put the money in pre-flop.
It was done.
Runner, runner, runner.
And what a deflating 2-hand arc for Adrian Mateos. First losing a chunk with kings against aces, and now with aces all in against ace king suited, losing almost his entire stack.
Ivey. Ivey with jacks against ace queen. And the river card was an ace to knock out Phil Ivey. Galper doing the deed that nobody could do. Phil Ivey gone on day 5.
Oh no.
Oh. Mateos at risk with deuces against the pocket 7s. James Tian on his left. Tian with a better club as well.
Outside of getting to add that king's fold to the old highlight reel, this day has gone about as poorly as it possibly could have for Mateos.
Absolutely. Looking for a deuce on the river. Doesn't get it, and that's going to do it. The man who came in with 4.5 million chips to start the day and then ran into the aces, had to fold that, and then lost a monster pot with aces. Adrian Mateos gone on day 5.
Wow, and in true
Oh my goodness.
brutal fashion,
No.
It is.
No.
this is unbelievable.
Coco all in with kings and Raymond Shu with aces.
And he's getting coolered by the guy he just made one of the best calls of all time against. Didn't win the pot.
He did it against Lou. This is Raymond Shu.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That sod gets like so many aces. Jeez.
Oh,
Ace in the window.
Backdoor clubs still for Lococo. Backdoor Broadway.
Jack of clubs could be fun too.
I'm not used to having two people at the table with two-letter last names.
Exactly, yeah. So that's going to do it. Lococo, who sniffed out the semi-bluff against Lou with ace Trey, only to be bit on the river for most of his chips, goes out with pocket kings on day 5 from the main event. So we got a raise. Jesse Lonis, another big pro with the big hand. Hong Chong Lee hauled him down with 6s, and so aces for him, 6s for him.
I just saw a great tweet by Scott Seaver.
We'll tell you about that in just a moment.
All right.
Jesse not worried about the paired board. 2-time bracelet winner.
He's going to stick around.
And
for at
Lee
least
with
one
tournament winnings of over 2 million, so he knows his way around the table as well.
Come on.
Oh my.
This has been quite a day, huh, Norm?
I wanted to reach through the screen and remove that 6 of clubs. Lee now at the full house. Lonis dead to an ace.
How does Jesse play this? This is low jack versus hijack. Jesse expects Lee to have very few 4s. Maybe just ace 4 suited, of which Jesse blocks one of the 2 combos. And then Lee has a bunch of kings, so just continuing to fire, probably the best route. Get the maximum from a king, give them 0 chances to ever pot control if they have a hand like king 10, king jack. Unfortunately for him, Lee is going to have a hand that's difficult to even consider in this situation.
Just a call from Lee. With 6s full against the pocket aces. River card. Oh, is an ace on the end. Jesse Lonis get there just when we think he's dead in the water.
What is this run out?
Oh my goodness. And he has no idea what just happened to him.
Worse, neither does Lee.
These last 2 hours have been otherworldly.
Now Lee faced with a bet half his stack. What a fortunate run out for that man.
Guys, I don't want to warn you, or I don't want to threaten you guys with a good situation for Norm, but if Lee just calls here, I'm out of the room.
Nope, he's all in.
Okay.
Yeah, you got it. And a call. 6 is full, no good. Ace is full, knocks out Hong Chong Lee from the main event. And he can't believe what just happened. Neither one can.
Just brutal for Lee.
That's Apple Landerman.
I don't think so.
From Maui.
Apple Landerman?
From Hawaii.
Apple Landerman from Maui?
Yeah. Lahaina actually lost, unfortunately, his home in the Maui fires in 2023 in August, and has turned to poker and also helping rebuild the community. So good on him.
Yeah, great on him. Something funny about a person who lives by the ocean being named Landerman.
Oh, wow. Good point. Well, I guess not a sailor.
I guess not.
An ace for both.
Ace 10
with
for
aces
Foxen.
up. Yeah.
This is a disaster card for Landerman.
Bet 200.
And in a blind versus blind pot, no less.
Both starting with virtually identical stacks. And Landerman going from the best of it to horrendous shape on the turn.
How does Chrissy want to play this? If she raises here, she would be able to get all of the chips in by the river.
That's the calculation. Top 2 for Chrissy B.
That said, aces up are often a good hand to slow play. Just because you have so much of the board, it's more likely your opponent was bluffing. If she had a hand like pocket sevens, where it's more likely that her opponent has a hand like ace queen, then you tend to want to raise something like that. But top 2 blocks a lot of your opponent's value.
Landerman has the action. You just never know. You know, did they hit their kicker as well? He's going to find out.
Bet 320.
Lavenders are worth 100K each.
And this is a very small bet into a 1,000,000 chip pot. Chrissy's going to see through this and put in a significant raise, I would have to imagine.
Then the squirming will begin.
If Chrissy wants to ensure that the one pair, top pair type of hands will always call, she'll choose a smaller sizing. Or she may just target the smaller 2 pairs and the best top pairs and go really big.
Into 1.4 million, she bet 1.5 million. Hoping Landerman has pretty much what he has.
And this spot officially sucks for Landerman.
Chips are in hand. That's part 1.
Call.
Call.
Wow.
She turned it over with.
Oh.
That is a massive pot for Chrissy B.
Good turn for me.
The car service can pick me up about 10 minutes early. I just don't understand what's happening in here.
Raise 310 is the bet.
Hashem getting it in bat. Not all of it, but 3 betting with the ace jack. He's been a little quiet. We haven't been at this table a lot, but
Yeah, he is.
start getting antsy if you don't play a hand for a while.
A little bit of that. Also, not the worst choice for a hand to 3-bet bluff from the small blind. It's going to look worse because Fam has ace king.
Yeah. Might have been the right thing to do in the right time.
But to his credit, Fam only called, which means that Fam expects him to have quite the strong range here. Oh, this is going to be costly.
Ace on the board.
How does Hashem proceed here? He chooses to check, which is not only a sneaky way to play the hand, but a tough thing to balance in general. Your opponent will expect you to mostly have a strong showdownable hand when you check on the ace-7 deuce board, as it's just so easy to c-bet that board and try to take it down versus a number of pocket pairs or broadways.
I wonder if Dad's close by. He has been close by. We haven't really picked him out of the crowd at all. The paired board does not help. Daniel, check, check.
The check here from Pham is interesting. I might have just bet the turn and then fired river all in. I think if your opponent has a 7 here, you just get coolered, but they're mostly going to have an ace. And you want to get the maximum out of an ace.
Pham doing pretty well in that regard to this point.
Sort of interesting that Hashem bet the river. This allows Pham to make the decision whether or not money's going to go in the pot. And he's going to play somewhat perfectly against ace-jack. If he has something like ace-8 suited, he might just check back river. But if he has ace-queen or better, he's going to bet. So when you're Hashem, you almost want to value bet here just to ensure that you get the maximum amount of money against a weaker ace, and you don't just get value owned whenever they have a better ace. That said, if he feels like his opponent was just bluffing and shutting down on the turn, this gives him another opportunity to fire at the pot.
Now he's got the small chips in hand, so just riffling to think. Now cutting out the green chips and does make the call and learns the bad news. Yep, it was worst case scenario.
Considerably in 20 years.
Yeah, Stu Unger had a big gap between,
yeah,
his last bracelet. Ace King against Ace Trey. Medic all in with the Ace King. Smile on the face of the man ahead. Still likes it.
All right, no funny stuff, dealer.
Yeah, River's been tough today. Oh my!
This is really sick.
Pay out.
The nod medic sent out by Ace Trey.
Company looks like Brian's got himself in a spot here, and that is Manuel Machado with the ace-10 top pair up against a nut flush draw for Rast. Rast raised it up to 115,000 pre. Machado simply defended, and note how deep his stack is.
The correct number of players left on the screen is different from the other one.
Gonna play it as a call.
Players left 2, 4, 3. The other ones are showing.
Rast's problems are self-evident.
Huge turn coming. Clean for Machado.
Pot up to 615,000.
Looks like Brian is going for it.
1.7 back. Deployment to the front lines of a decent-sized platoon here. 440,000.
Call.
Not looking for any bloat. Machado calls, and of course Rast now realizes, given that he holds that nut flush draw, that Machado certainly skews toward the pair side of the spectrum.
And he hit the diamond dolly.
He can. Oh my. Rast sweet relief in the form of the nut flush. A board pairing diamond, but unclear whether or not full houses would be assigned across the way as played.
Random-ish, let's say, a 1 diamond offsuit hand. But let's see.
Rast working with a bit of a porterhouse here.
1 million.
Goes for an even million, Ali.
What do you have left?
It's a scary question to hear if you're Brian.
And for Machado, some of the calculus here involves whether or not he thinks Rast would behave this ambitiously with something that can't beat the ace-10.
Yeah, I think we fall to the value. If we're Machado, maybe we consider a chop, but likely we just lose if he's value betting, beat the bluffs. And this is a guy who can bluff. Everybody knows that. Rast extremely difficult to deal with and willing to run it in huge spots. Oh, he does pay it off. Go on, Brian.
And how about that for an infusion of chips into the Hall of Famer stack? Yes.
It's on Shaw, and we see we're not mulling it over preemptively, perhaps. He's in the big. 3-bet from Shaw. No, it's gone.
So a lean from the ace-8 suited.
And is that red no, by the way, Ali?
Yeah, I believe it is.
Okay. And for Tryon with king-jack off, what does he want to do?
By the way, you remember the movie Demolition Man, right, with Wesley Snipes?
I do remember that movie. By the way, Tryon is in.
By the way, the last name, the shades, the mohawk, this feels like a bouncer from the year 2034.
He's extending a little rope. Or perhaps extending rope isn't the right way to say it, but he's treading lightly.
King-jack doesn't bite. Takes a free pull at the turn, which puts a 4-liner out there along with backdoor spades.
And does Tryon try to rep the 7? He is throwing something out there.
In Mr. Tryon's kit here.
We kind of double block the 7 as well. Hands that might open and call a 3-bet. Could be ace-7 or 8-7 suited.
Oh, and trip 8s on the river will definitely keep Shaw interested in showdown as the pot grows to 1.1 and an unanticipated line by the pre-flop 3-better out of position.
Yeah, it's a kind of range-aware sort of flop check, though. And for Tryon, no spades are good. We have clear... Did he say all in? He did say all in.
And
Shaw is standing, Ali.
He's covered.
And also, the 3-bet check. He just asked him if he's bluffing. Good question. I feel like the double stand is... He does
he
call.
does find it.
Very nice from Shaw. What a great pickup.
Down at table C here.
Oh, man.
Jacks versus aces, and Steve's Song heavily in front. Both parties holding over pairs, bringing you up to speed. The open came from Adam Kivicius. I'm going to go with that as a first effort. He was the opener to 120. There was a flatter in between the jacks and the aces of Song, which 3-bet to 475 pre. The jacks then flatted. It went heads up to the flop of 10-7-5 rainbow. Song would follow through for 375. That got called, and here is Steve.
Looks like he's going for the sort of 700-ish.
675.
This is cool. It's an interesting idea. And for jacks, or concerned, Ali. But Song's so capable. Song will blast in a good way. A compliment of the highest order, but, you know, a lot of times these guys who get huge chip leads sometimes go out in a blaze of glory. Of course, he covers here greatly, but he's a difficult opponent to face with jacks in a spot such as this. It's not a ton. Does have the call in his hand. He is calling. Huge river coming, albeit likely going Steve's way. I believe that's official, yes? There it is.
Now, if this river doesn't change texture.
Let's see, if we may.
Board pairing 7, I'm not so sure as played we anticipate much 7X to be a part of the program.
Very dry river as played, you're right. And it will be going in from Steve.
All in.
So there's the request for the rest of the Lithuanians' tokens.
I haven't clocked somebody in many years. Not saying I'm against it. I just kind of, you know, I just sort of keep to myself out there almost. You know?
You got some karmic aversion to it, I feel like, too, because you don't want to be on the receiving
it's
end.
More.
Yeah, yes.
Here we go.
Yeah.
30 seconds. 10 seconds, Ali.
Oh,
he does
no.
make the call. He'll see the bad news. What a run for you, sir. Understandable hero call. It's got to hurt.
In every spot.
Oh, queens for Biffarella.
You can try as hard as you want. You're going to be in a bad way here as 3 bets have become 4.
Race.
And a welcome sight for Coelho. Don't really get it at this point. The guy's never folding. But fair enough.
All in.
You talking about the choice to 5-bet as opposed to rip?
No, I'm talking about
Coelho's.
His sort of like taking a little bit of time, but fair enough. You know, he took a few seconds. It's okay to be balanced.
All right.
Yeah.
Turn him over.
And by the way, once people realize it's queens, I think you kind of recognize, you know.
The gig is up a little bit.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. Queens v aces. 4.4 in the middle. The hand that is behind is covered.
We haven't seen a crazy beat tonight yet. And it looks like we're not. Although he's got the ace-jack-queen going. But the light is dimming for Biffarella.
It's got to be king 10 exactly.
Or queen-queen. It is the 10. It's quite a card.
Well, from drawing dead to drawing live. Is a king available? Could we see a stay of execution?
Very good game to you, sir.
Hey,
Biffarella falls.